I am thrilled and beyond giddy that we have this wonderful collection of people here to talk about Wicked. Please put your hands together and welcome director Jon M Chu, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it coming for producer Marc Platt, please. Raise the roof and welcome her home, our very own Cynthia Erivo! Welcome her as one of our own. Please put your hands together for Ariana Grande. Keep it coming for the wonderful Jonathan Bailey. And last but by no means least, your wizard, Jeff Goldblum. Welcome, one and all. Please make yourself comfortable. Thank you so much. I just want to check in with our audience. Are you all okay, everybody, after that? We're not. Congratulations. What an extraordinary film. It's just wonderful. Thank you. To create that feeling in people from your work, it's just fantastic. Jon, I'm going to start with you, if that's okay, please. Sure. What was day one for you on Wicked? What was day one?
Day one was I was in college, and I got an invite from my mother to go watch Wicked, this new Stephen Schwartz musical in San Francisco before it ever made it to Broadway. And I remember sitting there in the dark and just being swept away to another land. And I remember seeing the bubble come down and feeling like she was flying around me. And it was the most cinematic theater experience I've ever felt. And I said, one day, some director's gonna be very lucky to direct this movie. I didn't know 20-something years later I would get the call from this amazing man, Marc Platt, whose head this all came from, to do it. So.
Marc, it's been in your head for a long time, the want to do this, hasn't it?
Indeed. So I read, my first day on Wicked was when I read Gregory Maguire's wonderful novels some 25 years ago, and thought what a brilliant idea, and was going to make it as a film because it had so many ideas and themes and relationships, all told through familiar characters taking unfamiliar turns, that I thought was brilliant and cinematic. And one day, the brilliant Stephen Schwartz called me, the composer of great renown, and said, this really should be a musical. And the minute he said, I thought, you're exactly right. So we went down that journey. And then we had a successful stage musical. It's been here on the West End for 18 years, I'm happy to report, and doing really well at the Paula Victoria. And then I waited 20 years, and there were many, many reasons I waited for all those years, but the real reason was I'm the lucky one who got to work with this man and his talent and imagination and skill, but also his heart and humanity that lie at the center of Wicked. And I'm the lucky man who got to work with all these gorgeous actors and who bring truth and integrity and so much to the experience that you all had tonight. So I'm the lucky guy.
Oh. Thanks for sticking with it for 20 years as well. It's kind of like, this will happen. I will make this happen. And you have so beautifully. Cynthia, I don't know where to start with you and this just, you feel your soul coming out of this screen and this performance. It's so beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I know before even cameras rolled, you put so much work and prep into this, and wanted to give this everything. That last phenomenal scene that we watched, that number, that's all you. That's you committing to that. But that's the great thing about this performance, and what you gave is the small moments to the huge moments and everything in between. What was the most important part for you to start with? Where did you need and want to start with?
I think the most important part for me to start with was finding the bravery to put her vulnerability right beneath the surface so you could see it, to put all the things that I might be scared to show on the outside, and to use that as the fuel to feed her as she goes through her journey. She has to take lessons. These lessons come at her and teach her to love herself more and to be who she is. And that journey that she takes is often quite painful and lonely. And I think I had to learn to not be afraid of those lonely moments. You know, she spends time with Glinda, or often she's by herself. And so those moments where she is alone, I had to learn to be okay with that too. And that's kind of where I wanted to begin. And I felt like even the vocal journey was a bit of a map through what she was experiencing. So she doesn't get to start at Defying Gravity. She starts with The Wizard and I, very small. Did that really just happen? You know, tiny. And then grows. And I think that allows for the storytelling for her and where she is to keep growing until you get to the final cry. Yeah.
And all those moments as well are kind of the story as well as your performance are told with tiny little nuances that are important, whether it be costume and, you know, every part of it is part of the storytelling, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah. Marc and Jon let me be involved, very deeply involved in how she looked and the things we gave her and the features that we built with her. And right down to the green. There was a question at first about whether or not I would do CGI or practical, and I opted for practical because I wanted to see the transformation. I wanted to look at the mirror and see Elphaba and see the green lady, and I wanted other people to experience what it was like to look at a green lady with freckles that I thought would pull you in and endear you, and green eyes that put you just further away enough so that she was just strange enough to be on the outside, but wouldn't exclude you from what she was feeling. The braids, micro braids that sort of connect me and her together. The nails that connect to me here. And obviously Margaret Hamilton, who also had it. You know, I did all those little pieces of research just so you could like see a fully rounded human being.
Yeah.
Paul Taswell worked really closely with me to make sure that everything I put on my body meant something. Even the little rings on her fingers, we made sure there was little red stones in there
for our mum,
you know, so that we were always adding detail and building this person and making her real, you know, so that when we get to something like the Ozdust, we have that hat means something, so that when she takes it off, it becomes something when she puts it back on, because we've imbued it with all that. But we built that hat to make sure that I fell in love with that hat. So that hat was, I took care of it like it was my kid. It was always like, who else is wearing it? I don't know. Who's taking it? You know, to make sure that everything meant something. No detail was frivolous. Everything was connected, and filled.
Yeah. Ariana, congratulations. It's a wonderful... It's a wonderful performance. It's a wonderful partnership, and it's the comedy that you bring to it as well. You've got this in your bones. This, all of this. I mean, everything.
That was very good.
Very good. Your neck must have been killing you. Do you know what I mean?
It was. My second day on set, I was covered in patches, in like icy hot patches, because of the tossing. It was too intense. And I mean it. I was stiff. I'm still stiff now. Sorry, you were saying.
No. The performance that you give, you know, the dramatic side to it, but the performance, we know and we love you as a performer, but this is a different side to you that you committed to, you know, the soprano side to it as well, and going to places that were in you, but maybe kind of, I heard you went to Wicked School, which I think all of us would like to go to Wicked School with Stephen, you know, and kind of spending some time with him by the piano and singing. And how important was that in terms of, I guess, giving you the tools in your belt to then, when you are on set and when you are in these scenes, that it's second nature, that you are Glinda and you are kind of having fun with her?
Thank you, first of all. I suppose I did kind of put myself through Wicked School in a way. Even before my first audition had a date. I didn't know when it was coming, but I knew there were talks of maybe they're going to start seeing people soon for this role. And I started going to vocal lessons and acting lessons every day with Eric Vitro, my vocal coach, and Nancy Banks, who, yes, who they're just really beautiful. I mean, I worked really hard to train the muscles of my voice to sing differently because Glinda has a very different voice. She's a coloratura soprano. And just like any other muscle in the body, you know, your vocal cords have to be trained to behave a certain way. And one of the most important things to me in the preparation of this was making sure that my voice could sound authentic and to honor the music as much as I possibly could. Because I didn't want to change it to be, you know, something that I would normally sing. You know, I wanted to honor the role. And as far as the other parts go, you know, I just tried to dig in as much as humanly possible to what's between the lines, you know, because I've known this music and this script since I was 10 years old. It's my favorite musical. So how do you deconstruct that and find what this actually means to me, to bring my own insecurities, my own fears, my own truths to this, and put some of what I've experienced into Glinda and hope that it can add some value in some sort of way. And yeah, finding that balance, especially with my Elphie and experiencing this together and building something really real together has been the most beautiful part of this, truly. I'm very grateful.
Were you prepared for how collaborative and open Jon would be in terms of listening to your voice and listening to what you saw and wanted? And I believe, you know, for example, Popular, you know, in that number, you were really collaborated on whether it was the gadgets or, you know, kind of improvisation kind of moments that you saw the character would do. How did you expect that, and what was it like to kind of have that freedom with the character and collaborating with Jon on it?
I mean, that was, I feel like I sound like a broken record, but that was my favorite part, really, was, I mean, Jon Chu and what a gift he was to all of us. Every single person on that set, really, it starts at the top, it starts with Jon, and he just created such a safe environment for all of us to play and to experiment. And, you know, it's kind of intimidating when Jon Chu says, okay, we got what's on the page, now what would Glinda do? Just say whatever you want, you know? And yet it felt so safe. It just felt like an acting class at school, or like we were making a student film or something so tiny and intimate. And I think that's what made it safe for us to go there in these performances and to be so honest and to play and improv and try things and see if it sticks. I'm surprised it made it into the movie.
How important was that for you as well, Cynthia?
I think that everyone across the board was just given a gift in Jon, because he was always asking what else and how and where and what else can we do and how can we try it. There was such excitement for just the frisson that we all might have for each of our characters, the love that we might have for our characters, and what were our ideas of these people that we were inhabiting, so that when we be on set, what was on the page was on the page, but what was in our head got to be on the page too. What we would try was, just because the floor was always open, and it allowed for such play and such freedom to really expand on who they were. And I cannot express my gratitude enough for the space you gave us to tell the story of these characters. We really got to breathe into them. And, you know, when Ari got the role, one of the things she said was, I'm going to take great care of her. We can't do that if we're not given the permission to like be and to exist and to grow into those roles. And you gave that to us so we could actually really take care of these women, these characters, with our full selves. So I deeply appreciate that. It's one of the most important things you can have as an actor, to have room to explore before you land on the thing you want to land on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan, Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations. Not an easy. Well, tell me how it is playing a character, really. You know, because he is in a way. You know, and you know, Cynthia's the only, is the only person that can kind of see the cracks in that and sees the real person. But as a performer, playing a character, it's quite an interesting ask. Is it fun?
It's really fun. And yeah, just to add to John, I mean, I came in a bit later, but when I met John, we had a 2.5-hour conversation. And it was clear and evident that the opportunity in playing Fiyero is to, I think we know where Fiyero ends up. So it's reconstructing and pulling back layers. And the idea of charm and what that means, and maybe subverting the Prince Charming trope, and to see someone who's developed a skill set, which allows his life to be easy and golden. But clearly there's like an isolation and a desperation for something real. And I think in meeting Elphaba, she's, much like in life when you meet someone who sees you for who you really are. And I think he represents the change that these two women experience together. But yeah, it's bloody fucking fun. I've loved musical numbers in film, and Gene Kelly, and John Travolta and Patrick Swayze, and to be able to give a good go on some books and some tables, but and to know that actually you're teeing up for we've got 2 films, and the way that all the characters have these extraordinary journeys triggered by this sort of amazing performance, but to support the girls, which is essentially what Fiyero is doing, is a great honour of mine. Yeah.
I want to talk about a couple of the numbers specifically in a second, but Jeff, I want to talk about your wizard, because you're.
Yes.
You get a script, okay? We all have an image or an idea of the wizard from our experiences with the film, with the book, with the musical. But for you, what was that journey from the script, getting the part, and then being on set for that first day in terms of who your wizard was? How did you come to decide on who your wizard was going to be?
Well, I had the best help in the world. I've got nothing but I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to be given the chance to, be entrusted with this spectacular part that's been done by so many people, by the wonderfully generous and brilliant Marc Platt and then Jon M Chu. To be invited into this amazingly brilliant operation in this family. And all the people, Alice Brooks, your cohort, the cinematographer, and Nathan Crowley, the production designer, Paul Tazwell, who did the costumes, Chris Scott, who did the choreography. Just amazing. So first of all, I came at it with already opened up by a portal of gratitude, and then to be included in this amazing cast, which is a dream team headed by those 2 women for whom I have the utmost respect as people and artists and accomplished, who give the most virtuoso performances, and being near them while they were doing it was just a dream come true. And then this is I knew part of I loved the show, and it's become a rollicking entertainment. I cry. I've seen it now 4 or 5 times, and everybody cries and laughs at the whole thing. The music is catchy and deep and hits your gizzard like nothing else. But it's also important, and I was helped in the wizard's part because I'm the vehicle here and there for some of these more important and darker shadow issues. Oh boy. To be a person in leadership with the opportunity of leadership, and to use this ugly device of scapegoating and demonizing another group in order to enhance or seize power is relevant, as we know, throughout our history, our human history. And in this story, I make use of that. And then coupled with animal cruelty, and as I've studied it, because it's part of my story, oh boy, that's ripped from the headlines and of urgent moral importance. So that all helped me, drove me to do as well as I possibly could. There we go. And I was also a little bit inspired because to see this story which I found a kind of parallel. You know Robert Moses, I'll bet. You know that story, that Robert Caro book. He was a builder and an idealist early on, and was hailed as a kind of a wizard of city building, but power, as in the case of the wizard, I think corrupted him. Too much power corrupted him all way too much, and he was at one point going to decimate lower Manhattan, if you can imagine. And one woman who had courage and integrity stopped him cold. One woman stood up to this toxic, systemic, patriarchal disease and stopped it. And our movie has something to do with that. And I was so proud to be, have a chance to act out part of that story.
Amazing. Thank you, Jeff. I want to talk about creating Oz, in terms of how, it's so beautiful. I think we all want to go there immediately. But in terms of for you guys and, what your vision was, but Marc, in terms of helping, create that, make that happen, for you guys, for it being there, to be, for as much of it as possible to be real, to, physically touch it and have it there, how that helped and how important it was for those, for those scenes and those moments. I mean, what we see, so much of it is real.
Yeah, we built Emerald City, that you could go into any store. You could look at the labels in the salon. You could, Munchkinland, that was a real place. I mean, it was muddier, but it was a real place that we had. And we built a 60-ton train. We built, we planted 9 million tulips. The studio was not happy about that, but we did it anyway for you. Now, I felt a responsibility.
Waterway, you always have to say the waterway.
Oh, the waterway. I mean, in Shiz University, it's
Yeah.
a real, that's real water and real boats. Ariana's mom bought the boat.
She says she did, but I don't think she did. I looked for it just to make sure she wasn't kidding.
I want it to be
Spoil a
real.
Christmas present.
Okay. From the very beginning, when I was talking with Marc, I was talking to the girls, I felt a responsibility to make Oz real.
Yeah.
If we're expected to believe in the relationship and believe the stakes that they're going through and believe that they actually care about a land, then who are the people that live on the land? Who are the Munchkins? Why should we, if they're optimistic people and they are led by a strong leader, whoever it may be, then why is it that they ultimately stay here in Oz, and why do they want to fight for it? So that means that it can't be a dream to us. So, in the beginning, we drop into the most famous crime scene in cinematic history, the water on the floor. And you see the most iconic image of the hat. And we go out, and we don't just skip over the land. We see the landscape, cracks and all, dead trees, alive tree, whatever, to really establish this place, this real place, so that the girls, when they come in here in this story, we know what their relationship with this place is. There's a history of animals having been there before. Shiz was built by animals. It was educated by animals, so that now we see what happens when the wizard has come in. He's put the emblem of the wizard. When it falls down, you see that there was history there. We dig it more later, but those things were little details that really helped build a land that they could then live in and have a real relationship in. That was at least my responsibility of really making sure we did that for them.
Big ask of you, Marc.
Yeah, but I will say that although it's a beautifully lavish in the most positive way world that was created by Jon and Nathan and Paul and Alice's shooting and Dave Smith's lighting, all of it, Wicked is so much about the truth, because we can all remember a world where there was truth and getting at the truth. And so, to Jon's point, to make it authentic, to be true, to find truth, for these actors to find their truth as characters, the world had to be true and real and authentic in whatever our imaginations were of that world. And that's why it was accomplished the way it was.
What did it feel like?
Oh, it's truly a dream to be able to be on a set that is tangible, that you can touch, you can feel. Nathan Crowley built something beyond belief, but right down to the most intimate spaces. Our dorm room was detailed right to the book on a shelf. The glasses, the table that we put it on, they took such great care of our artifacts, the things that belonged to these women, so that they were lived in. And it means that, yes, you can use your imagination, but also you spend less energy thinking about the space around you, because the space around you is alive, it's already there, so that you can actually concentrate on the space between you, right? And that is, it's gold, because it means, oh, if I need to reach for something in something, and I can give it to you. When she reaches for my bottle underneath my bed, it's a bottle I picked. Like, I knew that bottle inside out, so it means something immediately. To be able to have tangible, real things around you, a real set, so that you can look and see what's going on. When she looks outside the window and says, look, it's tomorrow. We're looking outside a window, and it's tomorrow.
I love that line.
It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite.
I love
love
that
it.
line. I want on a T-shirt.
And you say it beautifully.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
Also, it was a little too real sometimes, I'll be honest. No, because one time I was in Munchkinland and I walked. No, I'm serious.
No, she was.
It's
true.
I spent a lot of time there, and
It's just off the M1.
I was like looking for what?
Munchkinland, Enchanted Forest, we were all over the place.
And I walked into one of the Munchkin huts, and just to see what was going on, we were on like a little break, and there was a Munchkin just napping.
Yeah.
In the Munchkin hut, so it was very real.
But
And I know it's funny.
no, it's
and
true.
I know it's funny, but also it's really powerful at the same time. I know it's like funny, but also to be performing No One Mourns the Wicked, and there's this massive propaganda of this caricaturized version of your best friend's face with all these nasty words on it is not easy to look at, you know?
Yeah.
And it takes that kind of collaboration and that many brilliant creators behind, you know, that aren't here sitting with us talking about it right now, that make it possible for us to feel those real feelings.
Yeah.
You know, there's a massive effigy of Elphaba that I have to set on fire, and it's impossible to sort of navigate that feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember on the day you were you were so emotional about it. That's how deeply she was in Glinda. And we kept talking about how much do you want to show? How many? Well, these are the people you're supposed to present to. So I loved that you were in it so
And
far.
we have to still kind of not let them see all that just yet,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But that was really hard.
Yeah.
Because that's my friend. And your brain doesn't know the difference between what you're performing and seeing, especially at that point in the game. We're so in it.
Yeah.
And your brain doesn't really exactly know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that look, that kind of almost like, it's like a really split second just before you sort of put the torch on, and you can really sort of get a flicker of the pain just in that expression. It's wonderful. So powerful. Am I right in thinking that the first musical number that you shot was What Is This Feeling?
Yeah.
And that's got the number of setups.
It might have been popular.
Was it popular?
Popular.
First.
Yeah, it was popular.
But the number of sets in What Is This Feeling is like, you're like, oh my God, it's like tell me how many different setups were there?
Oh, I don't even know how many sets there were. I forget, but that was shot over time too, because we had all shiz. We had that courtyard. We had to shoot there, and so that was over a span of I don't even know 5-6 months.
The bow staff fighting outside was like 6 months after the first two lines of the song.
Yeah.
We had to come back 6 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's unbelievable.
So they had to constantly like pick back in, get thrown
Yeah.
back in to get into these modes. But it was helpful to be in the dorm room early, because we got to establish their new characters. You know, the first thing we shot was the dorm room when they first entered the dorm room, and it was a dialogue scene that's not in the show.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to have that room for them. I got to watch Glinda and Elphaba move in with each other, and I didn't know how it was going to go. It was the first day, and so seeing that happen, I understood that, oh, Glinda's actually smart, because she knew that Morrible didn't do the magic, and Elphaba also saw that. So it's the start of a different kind of relationship than maybe in the show when it's just a musical number.
Yeah. I wanted also to ask about the library and Jonathan, looked like you're having a good time on that one. You know, in terms of that, just the mechanics of the physicality of that whole piece and is just...
Yeah, I was just thinking, we haven't talked much about the tornado wheel, which was, it's 35, 40 seconds of the number, and it was a feat of engineering, and it's amazing where science meets art, and everything was programmed to within a microsecond at 3 different revolving stages with, I think, 15 gymnasts / parkour dancers, and then me trotting along underneath. But yeah, it's amazing. Much of the invitation to be in a film like Wicked is the graft and the discipline that's required to learn. But Chris Scott, the choreographer that I know me and Jeff worked a lot with, even though we were like ships in the night, because you would do the morning shift in the rehearsal room and then I'd come in the afternoon. I could just smell the pheromones of Jeff Goldblum, which kept me going. But yeah, it was amazing. There were so many different amazing experts and departments that worked together. But the Dancing Through Life really is a moment where so many aspects of filmmaking came together.
You have to be so brave and willing to be vulnerable. I mean, he was learning these dances, getting in there. I mean, the insurance didn't like us throwing you in there because you could get your head chopped off from the ladder. We were very safe, don't worry. And but yeah, he had to be willing to do that.
Yeah. You mentioned trotting, and you had your friend on set with you, which was lovely, Jack.
Yeah, my friend Jack. Yeah, he was there.
Who was
Jack
your
the horse? Yeah.
From Bridgerton.
From Bridgerton.
Who did Jack's voice in the film? Is it you?
It wasn't him. No. It was a new person.
Okay.
I'm
not going to tell.
his name right now. But,
okay.
He really is
I like it. A
amazing.
secret.
It's such a good voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great voice.
It's a great voice.
Right
The
now.
horse
So
and the
sorry.
Tamarin monkey, for me. The Tamarin monkey and Something Bad. The little tiny guy. Never
Yeah.
mind. Well, later. I'll come back to that.
We have to talk about singing live and just why that was important, and also we feel it. You can. It has the energy. It's the performance. It had to be, didn't it? There was no.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a question for us, We knew immediately that we wanted to sing live because it allowed us to get closer to the reality of our situations.
Yeah.
It gave us the space to play even more. If Ari wanted to improv, then there was space to do that. If I needed to take a breath and elongate and a vowel sound, then I could. If our voices broke with emotion, then we could. And sometimes we would start in silence, and instead of singing to track, we had a live pianist on set, Dominic, who is beyond, who would just be on set and would be ready to play at any point, so that he would start once we found the rhythm. But it meant that we were always telling the truth of the matter, and on top of which, this is a musical. Both of us, all of us really, know what it's like to do 8 shows a week on a stage and sing live on a stage. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of women and people who have gone through the college and university that is Wicked on stage, who have sung this 8 shows a week. So there was a really sort of it was an honor to be able to sing it live, but we could not have done that without the set being made for us to sing. Simon, who is one of the best sound engineers in the world, who I saw last night at the opening, was so serious about making the space correct and ripe for the sound of our voices. The whole place was like a live recording studio. Mics in anywhere you could think about, in my hat, in our lapels, in the ceilings, so if a wind was flying at us, you could still hear us clearly. If I was doing a loop-to-loop whilst flying and doing Defy Gravity, you could still hear me. If she was hanging on the chandelier, you could still hear everything. And it meant that we had the freedom to just sing and play, and it was just as important as the words coming out of our mouth when we were doing it. Yeah.
Cynthia's referring to Simon Hayes, who's ought to be a great national treasure here.
Yes,
one of the
very
great
much so.
sound folks. And I've done about 8 or 9 movies here. It's a wonderful place to work, mostly because of the craftsmanship that the crew puts into it, from every builder, every electrician, all the way to Simon Hayes, who I won't do a movie without. So credit to all those wonderful craftspeople who helped, starting with Simon. That's how it worked, really.
I love Simon.
I could talk to you all night about this film. I think we should all watch it again. I can't wait for the next part. And I can't wait to go and watch it with my mum and my kids and my mates, because it's a rare thing that you have the opportunity to watch a film with like generations of people and you all can take something away from it. And this film does that. It just gives so much to so many people. Thank you for all your brilliant work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Huge round of applause for our wonderful, wonderful Jeff, Jonathan, Ariana, Cynthia, Mark, and John. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.